welcome back to my channel. So in this video we will see a backend generic automation framework. So this is the new framework which I have developed, and it is like just you have to plug it and use it. So let's see what it is, what are the features we have, how to use, and where you can use it. So if you can see like what actually this backend generic automation framework. So it's a framework completely on the backend side, whether you can take for API, Kafka, or you can take database. So for all those automation and validation, you can use this. So it's an automation framework consisting of, it has helper classes, utilities, POJOs, generic methods, miscellaneous methods, and reporting mechanism. So for a team to work on any automation project or any automation framework development, they just have to clone this and use it. Like, no need to develop it from the scratch. They can directly start writing on top of this. So it's a plug and use framework which enables developers or test engineers to write the test without worrying about all other generic and helper classes development. So one use case, let's say I'm a developer or I'm a new tester. I just want to quickly start with the test case development. So what I'll do, I'll just clone this repo. I'll just go to src test Java. I'll just directly start writing the test cases using the helper classes which are already been provided. What are features which it has? So let's see, like, does it meet all your requirements? So first thing you can see, we have REST API and GraphQL automation. We have data driven execution, like you can drive your data from Excel file, databases, or property file. We have logger as well, like we have, you can log your you can debug using this log4j. You can log to file, log to console. There is unique thing here, you can add a custom assertions. Like, let's say you have some payload with lot of fields in that. Let's say you have hundreds of fields with, in that payload. What you have to do, you just have to validate all of those fields with db values. Instead of writing those many assert statements, you just have to use this custom assert, so that it will iterate through each and every field and it will create the assertions on the fly. It has rich HTML report, so we have used extend report here. So this will provide better reporting so that you can analyze the test results. It has email notification, so whenever any test executed, when you execute any test, it will send an email. It has database validation as well. You can connect to database and you can validate. As of now, we are connected to uh, MySQL database, so that like you can use RDBMS and you can validate. Here you can execute your code based on the environment. Let's say you're running your code in dev environment or stage or uh, SIT. So let's any lower environments you take, you just have to pass that environment variable and you can run. You have POJO based payload execution. So this payload creation which you do as part of API automation, that is based on POJO creation that we are supporting right now. Maybe you can also customize this to add directly modifying the payload from the file. We have the generic methods like date creation or date, getting that date in specified format, or getting some random numbers or random string, that kind of things. It has whatever test cases, whatever helper methods have been provided, just how to use that. As an example, we have provided test cases here, test scripts. And important thing like Kafka automation, this is a new thing which I have added. Kafka automation is like you can publish the message to Kafka, you can read your message from the Kafka. These are main two things, and we have generic methods for that. Another thing, like you can validate the structure of the JSON payload. Let's take you have two JSONs. You want to compare whether those are structurally similar. So to validate that, I have developed a generic utility, and that will validate whether two JSONs are equal. And you may ask like where this scenario will come, like structure comparison. Let's take you have a system, and it is going through multiple, it has multiple modules, and one module is using the other module using payloads, and those payloads are coming from Kafka. So suppose one module publishes that payload to Kafka, and it wants to verify the structure whatever it is publishing, it's valid, so that other module consumes it. There should not be any differences in the structures, like new header addition, or new field addition, or new field deletion, or any field update. Those things should not be there. So for those comparisons, so I've developed this library, and this framework is customizable. You're free to modify according to your requirements. And how to use this, so I'll provide a link in the description. Maybe you can go and you can clone and use. Where you can use it, like you can use it your for personal projects, or wherever required. Like suppose you are participating in any external hackathons, you just quickly have to write the test cases. There you can clone and use it. And let us see, like uh, let us go in depth into the framework and understand what all we have. So this is the generic framework. So most of it is completed, like whatever is pending, I'll work on enhancing that as well. Like I'll regularly keep on adding the updates. So if you can see, this is src main Java. So it has all the helper classes that drives our test cases. This is src test Java. This has the all the test cases. These test cases will use this pack this source folder and all the classes present in these packages. We have src test resources. It has property files related to log and environment base. This is sit.properties. You can have stage.properties. This is excel file to drive the test data. You have a folder called logs, where you can see logs for the test execution. This is the reports folder. You have the html report, and you have form.xml, where you'll add your dependencies, and you have your testng.xml, where you provide your test cases path and how to run the mechanism. If we go further in depth, we have this first package called uh, com.ats.api. It has a class called RestAPI execution util. So let us understand what this class is and how it will be used. So we know, right, rest assured is most famous in API automation. Nowadays many individuals or companies are using this rest assured to automate their APIs. So here you have different methods for different http uh, methods. We have like get, post, put, and delete. For all of those, I have provided generic methods, so that you just have to call these methods based on these parameters, and you can hit your APIs. We have post request. You can provide endpoint and only request body. In another same post request, you can provide endpoint, request body, and headers if you have any. Similar, this is another post request. You can provide endpoint. You can provide the request body as this POJO, this class object, and headers. And for get, we have, you can only provide the URL, you can provide URL and headers. You can provide URL and headers as map. This is headers as headers object, and we can use this get request. You can provide URL, headers, and query parameters. So these are all the generic methods I have added as part of this REST API execution util. When you clone and develop your own test cases, you can add your own specific methods in addition to this, or if you want any changes in the existing methods as well, you can do uh, in your local. So you just have to fork this and keep it in your git repo, and you can make your changes. Next thing we'll see, helper package. Here you can see we have custom assertions. First thing, let's see what it is. So custom assertion is nothing but whatever assertion TestNG provides. On top of that, we are developing some methods so that you can add whatever you want here. Let's take this example method called is equal. It has expected message, actual message, and for which field this message is. So inside you can see we are asserting expected and actual, and we are adding some log. If it is passed, it will be actual value of that field name, and is actual, and expected value is expected. If it fails, we are saying log.error, actual value of field name is actual, and but expected value is expected. In here you can see this log.pass. If we go inside this, log.java is a class, and it has other methods as well. If you can see here, this log.info, this is the log4j message, and this extend report manager, right, this will log the message to the extend report. So in here we are doing both the things at a time. It will write the message to the log file and as well as to the extend report. We'll come to this later. So if you see here, this equal we have, this is for string, this is for integer, this is for boolean, and some other methods we have is not null. You can assert whether the string value is not null. So this is the custom assertion. You can add your own methods as well. If we further go to next class, let's go to database queries. In here you can add all your database queries, like query for data retrieval from table. One sample method I have added. You can see I have given the arguments table name, column name, and what is the column value. Based on those things, I have formed the query here. Select star from table name where column name equal to this column value, and here this is the database query. You can add multiple methods like that, and wherever is required you can use. And whatever we are talking, log.java, this log.java class, we are using TestNG listener as part of this, and also we are initializing the logger for this. What we are doing, smartly we have added two things here, logging to the log4j log file and logging to the extend report. This extend report manager class we have created so that everywhere, I mean at whichever place you want to add this extend log, you can just use this extend report manager class, and you can say get text dot log, and you can write it. So these are the generic methods. For info we have this, for warning we have log.warn, for pass we're adding log.info, for error log.error, and we are making it fail here. For fatal log.fatal, and for debug log.debug. And if you consider this listener, you can see here on test start what we are doing. Extend report, in the extend report we are adding the test name and test description. On test success, what we are saying, once the test is success we are saying test pass, once it is failed we are saying test failed, once on test skip we are saying test skip, on finish we are flushing that report. so that all the changes are committed. Now if you see this root POJO, this is a POJO class where you can add getters and setters for your JSON payload. I think you are aware of this. So let's go further. This is extend report manager class. This extend report manager is the key, and this is most important, so that like using this class you can add your logs anywhere in your test. uh, See here, extend report manager, what we are doing here, we are providing the report path, and then we're getting the reporter, and we are providing here this configuration, document title, report name, theme, and this we have added a method called get text and start test. So uh, this method will handle the parallel execution as well. uh, if we proceed further, we will have database util. If you see here, so this database util will help you uh, to connect to database and to get the values, to perform select queries or update queries. It has methods called load driver, so it performs the connecting to database. You can get your credentials from property file, and this password you can get like encrypted password from property file, and you can decrypt and use here. We have a method called get result set. If you pass the query, it will give you the result set. And there is a method called run query, where you can establish the connection and you can execute your query and you can run. If you go further, this is excel util, where you have different methods for the excel, whatever you need. Like if you see here, we have row count, like how many rows are there in excel. For getting the cell data with different parameters, you can pass sheet name, column name, and row number, first method. And in another method you can pass sheet name, column number, and row number. And in another method, this is set cell data, you can pass sheet name, column name, row number, and whatever data you want to set with. Set cell data, this is sheet name, column name, row number, data, and whatever, if there is any hyperlink you can add. This is if you want to add a new sheet, and if you want to remove new sheet, if existing sheet. This is if you want to add a new column, and this is if you want to remove existing column, and if you want to check if the sheet already exists, you can use. If you want to get the column count, if you want to add the hyperlink, if you want to get the cell row number, so all these methods you can directly use it from here. And another class, if you see generic util here, so this class has the generic methods, like you can get the date, get the current date based on some format. You can get the current day, month, year. You can get a return date, kind of. This is for if you have if you have some calendar and you want to perform some actions, you can make use of this. Another class, properties files util. So this class, property files util, it has a method for getting the values from property file and setting the values to property file. Here you can say we are adding logger as well. You can just pass the key and get the value from property file, and you can pass key and value and set the values to property file. So these are all the helper classes which we have seen till now. If required, based on the need, I'll add more and more helper classes. For Kafka also we need to add, that thing is there, and for structure validation also we'll add. So both of these things will be enhancement, and I'll make further videos on that. If you go further, we have added some sample test, like for excel util, for that helper class for testing those methods. I have added these methods. You can try, like I've added covering all of those methods. These are all the test cases with priorities. You can have used custom assertions as well, in turn which they log to uh, log4j file and extend report. If you can see log, this is for log4j, and this in turn will log to extend report. If we go inside, it will log to this log file and extend report. Now, like we have seen this, let's see another uh, test I have added. This is properties file. I have added sample test cases for that. If we go to src test resources, we have this log4j.properties file where the configuration we have mentioned for log4j. This is sit.properties where you can add your uh, db details. You can add other properties that are needed for your test. This is test data.xlss, so you can add your column name and data. This is just sample which I have created, and this is the log file. You can see your logs with current date and time, and proper formatting is there. And this is the report which we have. If we open this report, let's see how it looks. So if you can see, I have already executed this test, and you can see what all passed, what all failed, and for each of them I have added these logs. You can see actual data of this field name is true and it is false. Actual value of add new column, this is the whatever field you want to pass, that thing you can see here. You can see the author name. You can add the report name here. This, you can add the title here. And if you come here, you can see uh, hyperlinks also. You can directly go to the test. If you can see here, you can see like a pie chart as well, where it will show how many tests pass, how many failed, how many steps pass, how many steps failed. And further, if you see, we have testng.xml file where we can run it in parallel as well, so we'll see that in further videos. This is the pom.xml where we have used required dependencies. We have used the log4j latest version as well, so that to avoid that vulnerability issue. So that's it from my end in this video. In the next video, we'll see how to add this Kafka generic methods and structure validation as well. Yeah, thank you so much. Bye.